This is a demonstration of an integrated coding assistant for Jupyter Labs. To get started, you just have to open up Jupyter Labs and run pip install Trelis, then refresh the page and you'll see a chat pane appear. I'm going to show you how to do the setup within a virtual environment. So I'm going to run python-m venv to make a virtual environment, then create one called Trelis env. I'm going to install Jupyter Lab and IPY kernel. Then I'll install a kernel into this environment and run Jupyter Lab. So let's copy that code over into the terminal and it's going to start up Jupyter Lab within my browser. So a notebook has opened up here and you can select an IPYNB file. And next you need to pip install Trelis. Optionally, to do it silently, you can add -q and the U will get the latest version of Trelis. So I'll run that installation. And once it's done, I'm just going to refresh. And when I reload, I should see that the chat box pane arrives here on the right-hand side. Now you can check out FAQ and support with this link here. But first, let's get an API key so we can start to chat. To do this, you just need to log in with your email. So it'll send me a link to my email address. And here I'm going to click on that link. And now I've got an API key and I can see how many free requests I have. And I can optionally upgrade for more requests. So let's copy the API key, paste it in, optionally save it to local storage so you don't need to re-enter it. And with that saved, we're ready to chat. So let's start by asking what's in this notebook. Should generate a summary. It's got access not just to the contents, but to the error messages as well. So you can see already it's suggesting some fixes to the cell. So for example, in this function here, we've got an adder, but we're calling it incorrectly with this 3x here. So I'm going to scroll to that cell, replace, and I can run that cell now after running the adder. And you can see that it's been fixed. So let's go down to some other function errors here. It looks like there's an error within our Fibonacci function code here. I've basically removed some characters so that this cell won't run correctly. So let's fix that cell there. We can scroll to it if necessary and then replace. And with that, we should be able to run the cell. So here you can see we've plotted the first 10 Fibonacci numbers. So no matter where you are in the notebook, you'll always be able to scroll to a given cell where the code is recommended and then replace. Now, in some cases where you need to add new code, you can just use the copy button here and you could copy it into a newly created cell. If you do run into errors, as I mentioned, all of this is available to the language model. So it has good context, not just on all the notebook's contents, but on the errors that are occurring. And if you want to do a new chat, you can click here and log out of your session here if you want to go back in and get an API key. Now I'll give one or two last tips. If you want to run in a remote environment with Jupyter Lab, you can run this snippet of code here to make sure that Node and Yarn are installed. For example, if you're running on Runpod, you're running with a GPU, you'll need to just run this short snippet first before doing pip install Trelis if you want to have all of the functionality available. Right now, this is available to support Jupyter Lab version 4 and above, which is the most recent version. It does not yet support Jupyter Notebook, Collab, or Kaggle. Any issues with the packages, you can create an issue here over at Trelis Research on GitHub, and then /Trelis-Assistant. And that's my overview of Trelis Assistant for Jupyter Labs. Just get started with pip install Trelis and refresh the page. And I'll put a link below to the GitHub where you can find more information. Cheers.